Welcome to your unfiltered guide to navigating the workplace as a Black woman, the Black Womaning in Corporate America podcast with your host, Nicole S. Palmer. I am the editor-in-chief and founding partner of Delnick Media, an independent publishing company that amplifies underrepresented and marginalized voices. This podcast was inspired by my best-selling book, Playing the Game While Black Womaning in Corporate America. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Black Womaning in Corporate America with your host, Nicole S. Palmer. So happy to have you here today. Really excited. Lots going on, lots to unpack. But first, as we always do, we start off with some housekeeping items. First and foremost, if you are here, welcome. Thank you for coming back. If you have been here before, if this is your first time, welcome. Welcome to the Black Womaning in Corporate America podcast. Really excited to have you here. I would ask one favor if I could. Could you please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, to the channel? If you're on YouTube, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell so you don't miss any notifications. If you are listening to this on Spotify, hello, please go ahead and submit a 5-star rating if you would. We are currently 5-star rated. We want to keep that momentum and streak going. You can help us do that. So go on ahead and hit that rating and go ahead and submit 5 stars for this fantastic podcast where we uncover all of the issues, all of the wonder, and all of the everything in between that it is to be a Black woman in corporate America. This is your unfiltered survival guide to navigate the workplace. So that is number one. Please go ahead and submit a rating. We really appreciate it. It goes a long way to visibility, to traction, traffic, all of the things. You may not know this because I've only shared this on LinkedIn, but it should be noted here as well. We are international. Yes, this podcast is being listened to in multiple continents. I promise I won't know off the top of my head right now because this was just very spur of the moment. So next time, I promise I will come back and share with you all of the reach of this fantastic podcast. You guys are helping us be international, and we're so grateful and excited about that. So thank you. And please go ahead and support us by hitting the like, subscribe, rate, wherever you may be, Apple, Spotify, wherever the case is. So please do that for us. Number 2, another pretty big announcement. We are moving. Our podcast is moving. And so what does that mean? 2 things. Number 1, we officially have a new home. We are now on Spotify. That is our hub for our podcast. Whoop, whoop. Yes, we're really excited about it. Took some time to evaluate the options, and we just felt like Spotify had much better features for us. So we are now on Spotify. So definitely come find us there. We have a lot of exciting things. We can make comments on the podcast, whereas you couldn't do that on our previous home. But I absolutely want to be thankful and shout out to Red Circle because it was an awesome experience. There was nothing bad. I have nothing bad to say about them. The customer service was phenomenal. The experience was overall great. But Spotify, not going to hold you, they blew me away in terms of what was available. So I had to jump. So yes, Spotify is our new home. That's number 1. The other part of the move is we are now on a new date and time. This will be the last time you hear us on Saturday. Why is that? Because we are now moving to a different weekday. We are going to be on Thursdays at 7 p.m. We thought it would be good to put it not so far down later in the week that if anyone wanted to interact, you certainly could. Saturdays, everyone's doing other stuff, which I totally get. So this is an opportunity if you ever want to jump into a live, because as you know, whenever we premiere the podcast on YouTube, we also do a live chat. So yes, it is me, myself, and I typically on the live chat. So if you had any questions, whether it's about that podcast episode or another episode, you are welcome to jump in and just jump into the chat and ask away. Yes. Okay. So Thursdays, keep that in mind. Starting the following week, you will see this podcast at a new date and time, Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay? On Spotify primarily. It will still be available on every other platform. We have not changed that. The distribution remains the same. So if you listen to us on Audible, if you listen to us on Apple, wherever you find your podcast, we haven't gone anywhere. You're still going to find us there. We're just changing the primary hub. But obviously, if you listen to us on YouTube, you'll still see us on YouTube. So go ahead and keep checking us out there. And also just check us out there anyway. For the most part, all of the other avenues, you're not going to see my beautiful face. You're going to miss out on the face and the expressions. I give a lot of very, very memorable expressions. So you're not going to get any of that if you are on other channels. You will get them on Spotify because Spotify now offers clips, video clips from the podcast. I don't believe, and don't quote me on this because I'm still diving into the features, I don't believe they offer for you to put the entire video podcast on Spotify. But who knows? That might be yet to come. They definitely offer video clips. So I will be throwing in some clips in there and sprinkling them in there so you guys can definitely check them out. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, you're going to start seeing some video because we are going to dig it up from the archive. So I started on camera, I believe it was episode 4 is when I started on camera. So we're going to put in some of those episodes, some of those clips so you guys can check it out. We're definitely going to have the playlist if you guys want the Cliff Note version because you don't have time to listen to the full episode. That is okay. We will make sure that you have the highlights, okay? We try to add episode highlights to every single episode. A little bit behind schedule with production right now, but we are working on that to get those to you very, very soon. In the meantime, still go check out the older episodes. There's a lot of good stuff in there, guys. So definitely don't want to miss out, okay? So other announcement, housekeeping item, whichever you prefer. There's a slight delay. I did say that my book was going to be available April 14th. Unfortunately, Ingram Spark, yes, I'm going to put you on full blast. Not sure what's going on. Their server loads. I keep getting the spinning wheel of death is what I call it. And I have not been able to make updates to my book in order to get the proof so that I can put it into your hands and you can start pre-ordering. So I'm looking at you totally side-eyed, Ingram Spark. I thought that you guys were going to be a good alternative to Amazon. And so far you are disappointing me. This is not the first time. Doesn't feel like it'll be the last. The customer service is really lagging. And I'm not trying to make this a bashing of Ingram Spark, but I definitely feel like you guys need to tighten it up. I'm not happy with what I'm seeing so far, so I am exploring other avenues, but I did want to let you all know that it is not for lack of trying. I still have not heard back, even though I responded literally like a few minutes after they sent me an email. Nothing. It's gone into the ether, and it'll probably be another 3 to 5 days before I hear anything. So that is where we are, folks, unfortunately. I am looking at other options, so I will hold off on saying when the new pre-order date is going to be because unfortunately I do not know at this time because Ingram Spark. Okay, so I'm doing everything I can to make the book available in other avenues. I was really trying to avoid using Amazon. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be an option at this time because I'm still waiting for Ingram Spark to get their shiitake together. So yeah, that's where we're at. More on that to come. That said, the book paperback is still on track to be released June 21st. That has not changed, whether it's Ingram Spark or somewhere else. It will be available for purchase. The paperback and the hardback will be officially released on June 21st. So definitely look out for that. The pre-order date is just the only thing that's a little bit of a moving target right now. So please do bear with me and thank you for your patience in advance about this. I know it's a hassle. It's a hassle for me. So what else? Here's the what else. As I mentioned, this podcast is officially international. We out here, guys, really and truly. And to that end, I would love to hear from my international folks who have gotten a hold of the book, Playing the Game While Black Women in Corporate America. I would love your input. So far, we have gotten feedback from America, of course, from Brazil. Yes, Brazil is out here representing with reviewers from Brazil who have purchased the book. I have one review in particular that I shared, which I was really excited about. And Canada. Now we have ABC. I know I'm a little corny, but it's okay. So, yes, I'm really curious to know if you are not located in the US and you have purchased Playing the Game While Black Women in Corporate America. What do you think? I'd love to get your input and your feedback. Maybe you can come on the show. We can talk about it. Hey, you never know. So, I am very curious to know what your thoughts are, especially if you are overseas, because I definitely suspect that what I talk about, the topics I talk about, are very universal. There's some commonalities. At the end of the day, you're a Black woman, no matter if you're in the States or abroad, you're still who you are. Who you are is who you are. And I've always said that I am Black first, woman second. And so if you are not in the US and you purchased my book, what do you think? I would love to hear from you. I have also put out a call. If you happen to be on LinkedIn and you haven't connected with me yet, go ahead and connect with me, because right now I am offering 5 free copies of my book in exchange for an honest review if you are based in the UK. This is specifically a shout out to anyone based in the UK. So if you're in the UK, here's your opportunity to get an absolutely free copy of my book in exchange for an honest review. So far, one person has taken me up on it, so there's still 4 copies left. I would highly recommend, because they typically, once I announce it, they go fast. And I'm actually reaching out to a few people that have larger platforms to make a broader call for this. So this is your opportunity to get in on the ground floor before anybody else hears about this. Go ahead and reach out to me on LinkedIn, Nicole S. Palmer, NICOLES like Sam, Palmer, PALMER. So go ahead and reach out to me on LinkedIn and get your free copy, because I still have 4 copies left. So there's still time, okay? So that said, if you are not based in the UK but would still like to get a copy of my book, you are in luck, because my book right now is available free until April 25th on NetGalley. Yes, netgalley.com. They're the premier destination for book reviewers, libraries, and bookstores. They typically will look at advanced reader copies in advance of deciding whether or not they want to actually have the book available. So yes, for a limited time from now until April 25th, you can grab my book, Playing the Game While Black Women in Corporate America, right from NetGalley. You can actually sign up for free, absolutely free, as a reviewer. I will put the link. Actually, the link is right in the description. If you are anywhere you are, hopefully, you'll still see the link in the description. Go ahead and check it out, how to get my copy of your book, of my book, my copy of your book, your copy of my book, my copy, no, your copy of my book, your free copy of my book, absolutely at no cost from NetGalley. The link is in the description. Also, this is very breaking news. My book is now available on 11 Labs as an audiobook. And the really nice thing about it is narrated by none other than the one, the only Dr. Maya Angelou. Come on, y'all. Come on. Okay? And you can do that for free. Yes, you can go in. All you have to do is create an account on 11 Labs, and you can have my book absolutely at no cost to you right from 11 Labs. And all you have to do is, once you log in, you select the voice. Who else but Dr. Maya Angelou? It's not by default. You do have to select it, but it literally is such a quick and easy step. I promise you. In fact, I will do a walkthrough at some point this coming week to show you just how easy it is to log in, create an 11 Labs account. I'm going to create a dummy account just so you guys can see it, and then I'm going to get rid of it just so you guys can see just how easy it is to set up an account. Let me tell you what. I listened to the dedication, which is about this much of a paragraph, and I got chills listening to Dr. Maya Angelou read the dedication of my book. Okay. only in 2025 would that be a possibility, because y'all know that AI has advanced to the point that things that were not accessible before are now so accessible. And that's a topic for another day, because I literally have to unpack that in a whole separate episode. So we're not going to do that today. But I just needed to let y'all know, if you want to have your whole self gotten together through the narration of Dr. Angelou, come on, y'all. Go ahead and sign up for 11 Labs. Go ahead and sign up for an account with them. In fact, my link, you can sign up through my link right in the description, okay? Trust me, so worth it. So worth it. Okay? I'm listening to the entire book all over again from start to finish, just so I can hear Dr. Angelou read my book. Because, like, come on. Like, seriously, this is life right now. Okay. So that's all I have for you all. I still owe you all an announcement about my first book signing. I'm still finalizing those details, so please bear with me. I have a couple of folks that I'm in conversations with. So once I have it pinned down, you all will be the first to know. It may not be on the day of. I personally would love to have a book release party on the day that it is released, June 21st, but we'll see what happens. Early days still, kind of, sort of. So just bear with me. More to come on that, because y'all, it's just so many good things are happening that I can't even talk about everything, but we're going to get into it very soon, I promise. So stay tuned, stick around. Again, you can reach out to me directly. LinkedIn is probably the only place that I actually respond to my own messages, except when something is directed to me to my inbox, which is a different story. But yes, if you want to reach out to me directly as of this moment, okay, things can change. You can reach me at Nicole S. Palmer. That is the only account right now, the only social media account that I'm managing myself. And there's a couple others I'm kind of like jumping in and out of. So just full disclosure, if you want to reach out to me, and it is simply because, look, there's only so much I can do in a day. I'm only one person. I need to start letting some stuff go. So yeah, so I had to, they had an intervention on me. It's another story for another day. We'll talk about it another time. So yes, if you'd like to reach out to me directly, if you have a story idea for this podcast, I would love to hear from you. Things are ramping up. We are starting to get a lot more pitches for some great content. Super excited to bring that to you. But I still review all of the podcast ideas and pitches myself. So those are sent to me, and I do review every single one, because I do feel like it's my responsibility to. I may change also, but at least for the time being, you know that yes, yours truly is reviewing the content herself. If you have a podcast story idea, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from other Black women in corporate who either maybe went through the gauntlet that is corporate America, who came out of the other side. Maybe you're in corporate America right now. Those are the stories I would love to hear about right at this moment. So if you have a corporate nightmare story or a story of success or anything in between, would love to hear from you. If you are able to talk about it now, we can do it anonymously. If you'd rather not be on camera, that is totally fine. But I would love to hear from you. We would absolutely treat this with the care and honor and respect that it deserves. I really think it's so important that more of our stories are told. And so I'm always going to make an appeal whenever I can, whenever I remember, to please, if you have a story idea you'd like to pitch and share, please do go ahead and do that. And you can do that at info@delnicmedia.com. And you can submit your podcast idea or story directly. Typically, I do have a member of my team who does the initial filter, and then I will go ahead and review all of those. So please go ahead, and if you have a story idea you'd like to submit, please let me know. Please go ahead and send an email, info@delnicmedia.com. All right. I think that about covers it for the housekeeping items. There were a lot of them, I know. So now, without further ado, let's get into today's topic, because it is a humdinger. Sure is. It is literally hot off the press type of topic is what I will say. And as I am wont to do, I will 100% not name and shame to protect the guilty and the innocent alike, because you just never know. That's where I'll put it. So I thought this was the perfect topic to talk about because it ties directly to one of my 7 rules, one of my 7 unspoken rules of Black womaning in corporate America. You may have seen it as a cheat sheet and you may have seen the list of those rules. So yes, today we're going to unpack one because it literally hit me upside the head today and I had to talk about it with you all because it's so prevalent, and this is why my book exists and this is why this podcast exists, because of these very things that we have to continue to call out as they occur. So first and foremost, what had happened was several weeks back, in talking to my publicist, she actually recommended this particular opportunity to me. And I was really excited about it. It was definitely based on my subscriber count. I had to have a certain number of subscribers on at least one of my platforms. At the time of this particular, when I applied, it was 3,000. That's important to keep in mind. So I was super excited about it because I was right on the verge of hitting 3,000 on my YouTube channel. And as you all know, I have been working really hard to build up the YouTube channel. And we actually have completely shattered my initial goal. We completely shattered it actually last month. And now we are on pace to potentially reaching 5,000 subscribers by the end of this month. So I was really, really excited about it. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is perfect because I'm going to wait. And in fact, I was so excited about it and so wanting to make sure that everything was just right. I waited until my subscriber count hit over 3,000 just to really cement the application when I submitted it. And I was really excited about it, really looking forward to it. I was going to say something. I realized if I say this, it'll give it away. So I'm not going to say that. So I submitted the application. And again, by the time that I submitted it, I was well over the 3,000 threshold, actually. And I waited to hear back. And I just heard back. And what was interesting was that the response was that, I guess the way they worded it was my content wasn't a good fit for their platform, and maybe I could try again another time when something comes along that would be a better fit. And then the link to the platform was there, like I guess where I could go and reapply at a later time or something. Y'all, so I go there just now, well, before I started recording. And the minimum is now 5,000. It went from 3,000 to 5,000. Let that sink in for a minute. And when I tell you it has barely been a full month since I applied, it has barely been a full month since I applied. Now that I've changed up the requirements. And I found it so interesting because it's very clear and obvious to me that somebody decided to see what I talk about and see what I'm about. And you guys know I'm very unapologetic when it comes to what I believe in and what I stand for. And there's been this duality that I have seen, especially since really stepping out into the work that I'm doing in this space, where and I talk about this before, but it begs repeating. When I first started doing this journey, when I first really started doing this in earnest, and I decided to partner with Black Girl PR, we had this notion or idea of where we were going to be headed and how we were going to position me as this subject matter expert and thought leader in the space of Black womaning and issues that happen specifically to Black women in corporate America, because that's literally what my book is all about. And what we found is we just got such a cold reception to the idea of this very real phenomenon that all Black women deal with in corporate spaces. And we're not going to argue about whether or not that's true. Not all Black women. Yes, all Black women. And if you've never experienced it, you're in denial. That's just all there is to it. And we can agree to disagree. Okay, moving on. So we didn't get a very warm reception, even from places that typically would be very open to these conversations, because again, I had the brilliant notion that I would step out on the heels of this, what's been happening in politics, what's been, the election, the turnout, the backlash, or as I like to call it, the blacklash. And timing was a little off. So we had to pivot. And so we did pivot because, none of us are a monolith, right? The whole Black experience and the whole everything that we are as a people, we're not a monolith. And that also, to me, also very much applies to us as individuals. Not any one of us is one dimension, right? We're all multidimensional. Whether we recognize it or acknowledge it, we are all more than one thing. And so fortunately for me, I'm not just someone who speaks about DEI and not just someone who speaks about Black issues. I'm a writer. I'm an editor. There are things that are non-DEI, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it, that I do for a living. And we were able to leverage those things to actually get me opportunities that I would not have gotten had we just held fast and said, we are going to dig our, 10 toes down, no matter what, we're going to hang in here. And we recognize it's kind of one of those things where it was literally like, you got to read the room. You have to read the room and realize when things are not going away. And not only do you have to read the room and realize that, you have to be willing to pivot as a result. And so we were both willing to pivot. And boy, am I glad I did, because again, it opened up so many doors because we didn't have to talk about that other stuff, right? The stuff people don't want to talk about. We could just talk about Nicole, the writer, the editor, the publisher. Those are the things that are okay because we don't see color in those spaces. Don't get me started, y'all. You get where I'm coming from. So it was very interesting that despite the fact that I have the pedigree to show that I am not just someone who talks about DEI, although it is something I'm very passionate about and it's something that I talk about often and something that I will refer to because, hello, you see the name of the podcast, right? Okay, come on. So it was interesting to hear that I was not a fit based on their criteria. And those were their words. And I'm not quoting specifically. I guess I could quote specifically. Give me 1 second. So despite the fact that I submitted under one of their specific categories and tailored my response to that specific category because that is what I intended to discuss, I was told that my content is not a right fit at this time. Okay. And then, if that weren't enough, now you almost double the minimum requirement of number of subscribers. What do they say when it's something ain't right in the buttermilk? Yeah, that's what my husband would say. Something ain't right in the buttermilk. Find that interesting. And it's very difficult to look at something like that and say, oh, well, yeah, I guess it makes sense, when I picked a topic that was available and I wrote to how I could provide and what I could offer in that specific topic. Nothing to do with DEI, folks. But a lot of times it's kind of what I find, not everyone is willing to separate who you are and allow you to be more than one thing. Sometimes you are often pigeonholed, and you'll find that happen, especially time and again in corporate America. And I found it so interesting, and again, because this is exactly a day in the life of us in corporate spaces. But I found it interesting that when I applied, the requirement was one thing, and now it has doubled. And I thought, wow. Okay. And funnily enough, as I'm talking to my husband about it, it's like, oh, okay, way to move the goalposts. And I'm like, yes, exactly. Rule number 5. That brings us to today's topic, what we're talking about today. Rule number 5 of the universal unspoken rules of corporate America, Black women in corporate America specifically. Goalposts gonna keep shifting. Yes, that's literally what just happened, literally in real time. The goalposts shifted. And it's so disheartening and also frustrating to see this happen time and again, and to have them make arbitrary decisions on who is deemed worthy and who doesn't have the right. Your content is not a fit, when I was offering content that was specifically tailored to the category that I applied to. So I 100% call BS. But what I, again, have found in this space is that there's really no in between, especially in this day and age where it's very okay to call DEI a dirty word, diversity, equity, inclusion. In case you forgot, we like to make sure that we're throwing in the full term as often as possible, diversity, equity, inclusion, because I think sometimes it's easy to dismiss when you're just using the letters. So what I find is that once people associate you with a thing, they almost see it as like there's this, you have a stench around you, for lack of a better way to say it, where they're repelled or they don't really want to deal with you because, oh, they're the DEI person. They're the person talking about Black issues. Because the more you speak up, the more vocal you become, the more visible you become, the harder it is to hide the crux and heart of your work. And that's okay, because there's a reason why the podcast is called what it's called. So there's no equivocation as to what this podcast is about. If you guys want to get some kiki and good times, go check out my YouTube channel. I've got plenty of lighthearted stuff on there because I am not any one dimension. And so I talk about multiple topics. I talk about technology. I talk about fasting. Lots of things I talk about. But when you come here in this sacred space, we talk about what the podcast is titled, Black Women in Corporate America. That is what we deep dive into, and that is always what is going to be the case here. That will never not be the case as far as I'm concerned. And the topics that we talk about here will always tie back to the heart and the crux of this podcast. And because of that, and because the podcast is getting traction and visibility, and obviously I sent them the link to the podcast and they're like, oh, well, it's on my channel. And so you cannot decouple yourself from the work. If this is really what you are meant to be doing, if this is what you have decided to do and to make this part of your work, it's never going to be a thing where you can say, well, that's over there, don't worry about that over there. The decision really is up to the end user or consumer. And what I mean by that is when you present yourself, your whole self, because even if I say I'm here to pitch you on this one story, it's never not just the one story. In fact, my bio specifically says that I speak about equity, and I am not ashamed about it, and I'm very unequivocal about it. And so it doesn't matter if I'm talking about something lighthearted or whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, they have to be okay with presenting me to their end users as who I am, because I am not apologetic about who I am. And so if they're not comfortable with that, it doesn't matter what I say or don't say, they're going to make the decision on the totality of who I am. And that's something that's so super important to keep in mind, that unfortunately, if you make the decision to be in this space, especially now when it has become normalized to be an open and out and proud racist, because that is what it is, you're going to hit some roadblocks. You're going to find that people that typically would not shut the door in your face are much more comfortable doing it now, because hey, if the White House is doing it, why can't we? Why can't we follow their lead? We absolutely can. Finally, we get to like let our racist hang out. We don't have to hide it anymore. So you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared for that. And it's just, again, back to the issue at hand, the rule number 5 that I was referring to. This is why I talk about it in my book, because you're going to find this anywhere that is corporate adjacent or any tinge of corporate to it. You're going to come across this, unfortunately. When you're trying to apply for the jobs, you're the most qualified, right? You could be the front runner, and then they throw in a curveball as to justify why you're not the one that gets the job, because you're missing a degree or you're missing like 6 months. I have actually been in places where I applied for a role. Actually, this was at my last toxic job that shall never be named. I applied for a role against another candidate. I was in the department where I was applying for the role, and they actually changed the job description to make him qualified over me. Do you hear me what I say? Do you hear me what I say? Yes, that really happened. Not to mention, and another story for another day. Y'all, I got stories for days. Y'all know this already. This same person who got the job over me was to a boss that told me to my face, I prefer men, they're less drama. I really be trying to tell y'all this stuff with a straight face, but sometimes it's hard. Yes, this is exactly what they told me. And in fact, there was so much stuff that happened behind the scenes that they didn't realize that I knew when it came to them picking this white man who had way less qualifications and way less publications and bylines than I did over me, to justify the amount of pretzel contorting nonsense that happened, to justify this individual getting the role over me was bananas. It was bananas. So hear me when I tell you, as a Black woman in corporate America, rule number 5 will happen very often. I actually go into a lot of detail in my book. One of the worst examples of goalposts gonna keep shifting that I experienced during my time at the place that shall not be named. It was so blatant. It was so disheartening, demotivating. It was all of the D's. And this was after being told I had done everything I needed to do and the rest was up to them. Those were verbatim the words. Never forgot them. Those were the words that every single person in my direct reporting line said to me. They all had the same exact words to tell me. And at the end of the day, when it came down to it, never materialized. There was always another reason, another hoop to jump through. And this is what happens. This is the phenomenon that we talk about often, the pet to threat, where you start off being the best thing since sliced bread, and it only takes one disagreement, one opposite statement, one I don't agree because of this, to change everything in a split second. So what do you do? Right? Because yes, we can call a spade, but then what? Now what? And so I want to actually leave you with some key takeaways. And if you had a copy of the book, you could have the full Monty. But I'm going to give y'all this one for free. This is going to be a freebie, okay? So what do you do when the goalpost keeps shifting? Especially when you are in a corporate job. Y'all, I'm over here like pointing like, y'all know I'm hot. So what do you do when the goalpost keeps shifting? I'm going to give you a couple of things you absolutely, positively need to do. Number 1, clock it. That's first and foremost, because if you don't clock it, you're not going to know what's happening. So clock it. And don't just clock it. Number 2, document it. When, who, what, where, how, why, the 6, okay? you need to document every single instance. So on this date, this person said this, and da 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 da. Whatever it is, document it. Number 3, put a clock on it. So first, you're going to notice it. Number 1, clock it. Number 2, document it. Number 3, time it. And what I mean by that is once you realize something has shifted, you need to time it in 2 ways. Number 1, you need to determine how long you're going to allow this shifting goalpost to continue and perpetuate in your life, in your work life. 2 months, 3 months, set a clock. Whatever that clock is, you decide what you can abide by. If I don't get this promotion, or if I don't get by this time, then whatever it is you think you're going to do, then you need to write that down for yourself. Set a timer, an alarm, whatever. Put it as a reminder on Siri or whomever, whatever phone you use. Set a reminder for yourself. And then also, you're going to put them on the clock as well. And I don't mean either you do this by this time or else. We don't work that way. Remember, we're playing the game, okay? We are playing the game. The game is not playing us. So how do we set a timer and put the onus on them? If they come at you with something different, they're talking a different tune, and you'll notice a shift. You'll know when you go from pet to threat. You'll feel it. It'll be palpable. Yeah. So when that happens, very simply, you can do a couple of things. First, you want to do some sussing out. Hey, okay, I noticed that the conversation just changed from this to this. I noticed that on this day, because remember, you're clocking it and you're documenting. So you're going to have the receipts to say, on this date, we had a conversation and the response was this. I noticed that today the response is this. See if they can explain it. And if, they hemming and hawing or whatever the case, so they're going to try to blow you off and come up with some BS. Oh, I have another meeting to jump off. All of a sudden they got to go, right? Yeah, we've seen that playbook before. What you need to do is say, okay, whatever the response, because it is typically not going to be a good response, whatever they come up with, you say, okay, calmly, okay, remember, we going to keep the inner emotions, we're going to keep those in check, okay, because you don't want to scare them, okay? You're going to calmly say to them, thank you for letting me know, can we plan to revisit this in X? And you put a clock on it. If they try to shut it down, then you might want to regroup, but just put a clock on it and put the onus on them. You put them on notice, okay? And you're not saying, if you don't tell me, or if you don't promote me in a month, or whatever the case is that you're expecting, you say, can we discuss this further in next week? Whatever clock you want to put on them, you set that time up, because now they need to come up with something better than whatever it is they're feeding you, okay? And once you've done those things, if it's very clear that it is not going to go any further, or that it is heading in a direction that is not optimal for you, that's when it's time to roll. It's time to plan your exit strategy. And you should always, to be clear, and I've talked about this before, not the first time I'm going to talk about it, not the last, I promise. You need to always have an exit plan. It doesn't matter if things are going phenomenal. Your boss could be your best friend. They shouldn't be. We talked about this before, okay? Your boss could be your best friend. Y'all could be related. It doesn't matter what it is. Never put yourself in a situation where if something hit the fan today or tomorrow, you can't slide up out to something else. Never be in that situation. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. I'm actually not going to talk about them today because I think that deserves its own spotlight. But I want you to be very clear. Never allow yourself to be in a situation that you cannot go on, that you cannot GTFO. There's GTFO money. There's also GTFO positions and attitudes. Meaning that you have set yourself up in such a way that if you needed to have another job by tomorrow, you could have another one by tomorrow, baby. Yeah, I'm sorry. As soon as I said that, I thought about Beyonce. Yeah, so I need you to channel your inner Beyonce and be like to that job or them people. Don't you ever for a second get to thinking that you're irreplaceable, because I could have another one of you by tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, channel that, okay? That has literally been my entire mantra in life. I promise y'all, the last time that I got caught in a position where I was like, didn't see that coming. Y'all, I'm really gonna try to remember. It has been over a decade. I promise y'all, because even in 2008, when the bubble burst, and it did for most of us who were in the pharmaceutical spaces, for the most part, we were out of jobs. And for the first time ever in my entire professional life, I was laid off in 2008, or maybe it was going into 2009, whenever the little fiasco happened. And I remember the phone call like it was yesterday. Got a call from my boss right after I had tried to log in and it wasn't working, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. And I found out I got laid off. And even in that, and this is why having a GTFO position is so powerful. I promise you all, it is so powerful. Do you know that the very day that I was laid off, I already had something lined up? Why? Because I do not believe that any job deserves to catch me slipping. We off that. So I got a plan I talked to y'all about that too. I have a plan and a plan to the plan to the plan to the plan to the plan. Every one of your plans should have a backup, and a backup to the backup, and a backup to the backup to the backup. Yes, that's how we rolling up, especially in 2025. Come on, y'all. Like, it is a whole nother era now. So even back then, when things weren't like this, like they are right now, yeah, I had something lined up that same day. I got laid off that morning. By the end of the day, I already had something lined up in another state, mind you, because at the time we were in Florida. Yeah, that's how powerful it is to be in a GTFO position. You know, because even when you're not the one trying to get out, even when you get pushed out, honey, you'll be all right. Whether you get pushed out or you do the pushing, guess what? You're gonna slide right up out to something else, because that is what we have. That is how we have to operate, 100%. So yes, always be in a position that no matter what, whether they done turned on you, the job has soured for you, whatever it is, I need you to stay ready, because guess what? If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And on that note, because we had a lot going on today, so that's going to be the end of my little spiel for today. A lot to unpack, but seriously, guys, I just go back through and listen for those key tips that I shared with you. I really need you all to just start doing that. But if you remember nothing else that I said today, always make sure you are in a GTFO position. That's really the crux. That is one thing that, if nothing else, GTFO, just remember that. GTFO, make sure you are in a position that you can always GTFO. Bottom line, because if you are always in that position, it doesn't matter what they throw at you. It doesn't matter what they come at you with. You are never trapped. You never have to suffer abuse for a day or a second longer than you need to. You can decide tomorrow, I've had enough and I'm moving on. Okay? Work becomes an option, not a requirement. Catch that T. Okay? And on that note, thank you for joining me for yet another episode of Black Womaning in Corporate America. I was so glad to have you here. We are almost to episode 20. Can you guys believe it? We are almost officially 5 months in to Black Womaning in Corporate America. That is hard to believe. But here we are. And we have so much exciting stuff coming ahead, guys. You just don't even know. I cannot wait to be able to share a lot of this stuff with you. So keep tuning back in because we are 100% going to get into it. Definitely. Absolutely. So please keep coming back. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. And definitely watch the content. We are on a mission to be monetized before my birthday this year, December 11th, 2025. Yes, okay, I'm putting it all the way out there. If you'd like to give me an early birthday present, watch the videos because that'll get me one step closer to monetization. That is how you can gift to me an early birthday present that costs you absolutely nothing but a little bit of time. Yeah, and I would definitely appreciate you. I would actually thank you for it. So yeah, let me know. Let's keep this going, guys. I'm super excited. And also, if you happen to be a YouTube channel person, what do they call it? A YouTuber? Is that what we call ourselves? If you are on the YouTube and you have a channel that is just starting out, that you've had for a while, but you don't have a lot of growth, it's just kind of stalling. Ooh, do I have the treat for you? I am actually leading a group that our goal is very simple. It is 1, to grow our channels, and 2, to support and help each other get there. 100% only serious individuals need apply because this is not about someone does something for you, but you're not doing anything in return. This is 100% a collaborative effort. So if you are a small YouTube content creator, you're looking to grow your subscribers, maybe you have the subscribers, but you don't have the watch hours, but not the subscribers, you are in for a treat. You definitely need to go ahead and reach out to me on LinkedIn, Nicole S. Palmer. Go ahead and find me. Trust me, you will see my beautiful face on LinkedIn. And let's do this together, okay? If you are interested in growing your channel, I am going to give you an inside scoop before it becomes something that you are going to have to pay for to get access to. Yeah, this is going to be made available to we'll see, however many people are interested, that's how many people we'll work with. I have not set a cap or a limit as to how many this will be open to, but I do want to keep it small to begin with. So definitely go ahead and jump in while you still can and get in on the ground floor because it's going to be phenomenal. Definitely it's catered to small content creators. You saw I have grown my channel since December of last year. That is when I started doing YouTube in earnest, and I am on the cusp of 5,000. So I know a thing or two about growth. I just do. So if you want to have similar growth, you should definitely come be a part of this revolution. Go ahead and send me a message on LinkedIn, Nicole S. Palmer, and I will be sure to add you to the group of folks who are trying to grow and get monetized. Yeah, let's help each other grow together. Let's get to monetization together, okay? I definitely believe it's a group effort, and I don't see why we can't do it together. I have a very straightforward and foolproof way to do it. Yeah, and I think you'll be excited to hear what it is. It's pretty straightforward. It doesn't take a lot of guesswork. It just takes a willingness to support the way others will support you. That's all. All right. So that's all I have for you guys. So I've said enough. Go on ahead, like, share, subscribe, and definitely share because sharing is caring, okay? And let me know what you thought of this episode. Leave me a comment, ask me a question. I'll be in the chat, so let me know. I'll be here until the premiere is done. So go ahead and drop me a comment, and I'll also be checking out for comments on Spotify now that is our new home. So go ahead and drop me a comment or two. I'd love to hear from you. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining and for tuning in for another episode of Black Womaning in Corporate America with your host, Nicole S. Palmer. Until next time, take care. Thanks for tuning in to Black Womaning in Corporate America, the podcast. If today's episode spoke to you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, or submit a 5-star rating wherever you're listening. And don't forget to grab your copy of Playing the Game While Black Womaning in Corporate America, available now wherever books are sold.